Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your guy, Turgon the Wise, bringing a new video today. Today, we're going to do a 2.5 week update. Let's go over to the season tab. You can see we are now 18 days into the season, about 18 and a half and about 90 minutes, give or take, if you're going to be nitpicky with the details. So we're approaching 3 weeks into the season, playing my 18th season of Lord of the Rings Rise to War. I am with the team known as Yudz. Let's go to the map and show you what's going on. And as you can see from a pin perspective, things look very quiet. But there has, in fact, been quite a lot of activity over the course, well, really, since the server began, to be honest. Let's first check out this little pin up here in the very northeast corner of the map. This is a small pin up in Eastern Hills between Noid, who I have no idea who they are, Russ, and Stud. 255,000 deaths, about 800,000 participants. Not a huge pin by any stretch of the imagination, but it's enough fighting for it to show up on the radar. Now to the big pin, the big red guy here. For a while, there were two red battle pins in Southern Anduin Vale. They have now combined into one massive pin between Aces, Yudes, Lame, Order, and Unaffiliated. It's been going for 2 days now, as this the passes into the core ring regions opened about 2.5 days ago. So the passes opened, the Chapter 8 passes unlocked at 0800 UTC on Sunday, as I had been talking about in my previous videos. And we immediately, Yudes took this one, and Lame took this one, and Order took this one, and Aces took this one. So they flooded into the Southern Anduin Vale, and Lame came across Lorien into Dol Guldur and engaged from here, and I've been filling in the gaps as well through the northern portion of Lorien. They just recently, I even want to say it's moments ago, they captured uh, Karas Galadhon, which is what gives you control of the Lorien region. Now, Utes came over through this pass, and we went into Undeeps and straight up through the tunnel into Southern Anduin Vale. There was quite a bit of fighting that happened in this southeastern portion of SAV. And then also on, the entire southern region of SAV was a war zone for quite a while. There was two pins for a bit, but then earlier today, a few hours ago, or at least since I logged in this morning, I noticed that this pin has combined into one pin. It's a 2-day pin with nearly 40 million participants and 15 million deaths. Aces are showing on top. They've done a really nice job of defending this region, kind of given the circumstances. So I want to be fair to all of the participants on the server and just kind of call things as I see them. But from what I have seen so far, so let's take a step back before I make the statement that I was about to make. From a historical standpoint, the Chapter 4 passes opened, and that was when Lame came through this pass and Order came through these passes. And bear in mind, Aces spawned out in Ered Mithrin, and Yudes spawned in the White Mountains. So we were somewhat relegated to the eastern side of the map. The only way that Yudes or Aces could get to the western side of the map was through the use of flying units, until these passes opened up at Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Um, so I'll get to that in a moment. Lame and Order uh, engaged in Ariador, and Lame was able to defeat them, essentially, in a nutshell. I don't need to go deep into the details there, but essentially, Lame successfully defeated Order. They starved them from being able to obtain additional resources, and it became a war of attrition, where resources, you can only make so many troops depending on how many resources you have. If you have no resources, you can't make troops. If you can't make troops, you can't fight steadily. Lame was winning the resource war, starving Order. This caused a lot of Order players to go AFK. I want to say, and someone from Order watching this, please correct me if I'm giving any incorrect information whatsoever. I am totally basing this off of what I see and what I hear from people around the game. But my understanding is, on a good day, Order is anywhere from 30 to 40% active right now. The majority of that team is kind of asleep. And Lame is firing on all cylinders as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm sure they don't have 100 active players per se, but they're definitely doing way better than 30 to 40% activity at their peak activity on a daily basis. So that is the story of the West after the Chapter 4 passes. After the Chapter 4 pass is unlocked, the Chapter 6 pass is unlocked, and there was battling that happened over here between Mordor and between Yudz and Aces at this pass between Mordor and Ashen Plains. And we made a snipe attempt and failed. Came up about 50k short. I take the blame on that, just like my previous video. Um, and then we sat there for a while and kind of went back and forth. Aces attempted to push in. We were able to repel them. They took the tunnel several times, but then couldn't really get any farther, and there wasn't really much going on aside from this. In the meantime, this Nurple Purple Kingdom stud here opened up this pass and has worked their way up to go and fight the Wing Tree Kingdom, which has since been disbanded as Stud has taken their capital in the Eastern Wastes. That's why you no longer see the Blue Kingdom that was up here. And there is a nap between Stud and Aces, and there is a nap between Stud and Yudz. So since the Chapter 8 passes have unlocked, we have left this area. We're no longer particularly active there at this current time. We are focusing our efforts in the core ring regions and have steadily been pushing Aces and Order out of southern Anduin Vale. Things there are going well for us, and there are now, from what I am hearing, activity issues as well on the Aces side. Now, I have nothing but respect and admiration and love for our opponents, both Order and Aces. So I want to be explicitly clear that I'm not saying any of this with any sort of a, you know, arrogant connotation. I'm not trying to put any particular team or kingdoms down. I am merely reporting the facts as I hear them from various people around the community. So that is what I heard. That is the situation right now on the server. And it will be interesting to see, what happens from here. Where do we go? Dol Guldur will unlock at 0800 UTC probably on Sunday. Let's go back to the season tab. Yeah, 4 days and 13 hours from now. So 12 hours from now. So 13 hours and 21 minutes. That is 0800 UTC on Wednesday. You add 4 days to that, you get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that Dol Guldur will be opening at 0800 UTC on Sunday. There are already multiple kingdoms with 3 significant control points. This will automatically complete. There is no timer on this. And then DG will open, and it'll just be a matter of, when does someone take it? Someone likely at this time, given the circumstances that I have just laid forth, likely it will be us. But as I've said several times in previous videos, these are the most powerful teams in the game. Anything is possible. So I don't take anything for granted. Yudes and Lame don't take anything for granted this season. We work hard. We treat all opposition as if they were equals or better than us. And in many respects, there is information to support that. I'm very impressed with Ace's ability to defend what looks like uh, a foe that is superior, at least in numbers. We had definitively at this point in the season have an advantage in terms of numbers and activity on them, and it's very, very hard um, to navigate those waters. So for the people in Aces in Order who are still fighting, I appreciate you. For the people in Aces in Order who are kind of off doing whatever the hell they want, you're not helping your team, and I don't know what's going on internally over there. Obviously, I don't have any line of sight or insights into that, but I hope that honestly they're able to make a recovery and continue to compete because for being 2.5 weeks into the server, you know, we would like there to be more competitiveness. And I don't say that again with any sort of like malicious intent. I'm not trying to belittle anyone, but it's tough to see a team that you hold both teams that you hold in such high esteem kind of end up being this way. So I am passively rooting for you guys to rally and come back, and we'll look at different options to see how we can make this server interesting. And I'll report back on all of those things as they happen. So that is really all I have for today. We can do a couple more quick things that I like to do, like looking at some reports. Um, can see I'll run through some reports for me personally today. So this is a cool report. I was looking at Strider. Strider is a long-time member of Aces, Myth, Rack, Bait, all of the teams. I mean, for the longest time, probably rightfully so, Bait, Rack, Myth, and even Meta were considered the strongest team in the game. And if you go back and you watch some of my videos from about a year ago, I think it was season 14 where we faced Meta and Chaos as Yudes, and our partner then was Gods. That was the first big on deep season. And it's been almost a year since then. And after that season, Meta and Chaos merged to form Aces. So this person has been a member of all that, and just checking out his equipment, he's rocking Sauron. Um, his defense is, solid, but a little bit on the low side for a tank. Especially if you were gonna go with such a tanky build, I would expect to see a little bit more speed maybe here. At 33, it's not terrible, but it's not super quick either. Some of that might be from Dawn. He gets the focus, he gets command, he gets unit defense. It's not a terrible weapon, but I don't consider it best in slot. Harad Cask is also another very good helmet, but maybe not considered necessarily best in slot. It's kind of like not S tier, but like A tier. It's not a bad piece by any stretch of the imagination. And then the Elven Cloak, not great. I mean, it only is providing 15 defense and 24 focus. That's not a tremendous amount. More so, he's probably using this for the Fortitude, for the negative 5% two-piece set. And then he's got the Miras Reigns and the two-piece thick armor set. So this 143, once combat begins, really becomes 153 due to the thick armor, and he's mitigating 5% physical damage from the Fortitude at all times. Not a terrible tank. R11, it gets the job done. He's strong. As you can see, he's the only one who survived really this fight other than Gandalf the White. Um, I do question maybe the use of crushers here. I think these are crushers, right? Yeah, they're crushers. And I guess it's just because they're a cheap unit that you can make in bulk very quickly, which isn't a terrible idea, but they're not very beefy. Our preference is to go with Guardians. Guardian in a fight, Guardians versus Crushers. Crushers are going to get crushed more times than not. We got an R13 Gandalf the White, rocking the Divide and Conquer and the Fortitude set again. 247 focus, 44 speed. Pretty solid Gandalf the White here. Really nice. Let's check out his damage dealing commanders. He's got Skullhelm, which is one of Ace's favorite commanders, it seems, here. And he's got 66 speed, which is extremely fast. And he's got good damage. He's got 209 focus, and Skullhelm does a lot of focus damage. So um, solid looking commander, and you can see from this report he did the most damage. The Dane is looking real strong. Z2, 3 stars on the relic, maxed out, best in slot weapon and accessory. Great Orcish helm. It's a good helmet right there. So he's definitely a very, very strong. This is a very strong formation. Currently, what I'm going with as my main formation, as you can see here, is Saruman and Beorn as my damage dealing commanders, with Sauron and Gandalf the White as the supports. Sauron, straight tank. Now, this is what I consider the best in slot tank weapon in the game. You get 45 unit defense and a whopping 240 command, plus the fortitude set. And then you get the best in slot tanking helmet, which is this Cask of Submerged Isle, another 48 defense and a lot of command. And then another 48 defense from the High Elf Halberg. An evasive action 2-piece set, so he's mitigating 10% damage over the first 3 rounds. Is it all damage? It's all damage received. Yep. And then the Miras reigns for even more command and more defense. So you can see my mountain trolls have 209 defense, and Sauron has 737 command. This is a massive amount of command. He's mitigating 42% damage at all times. I don't generally I'm just throwing numbers out there. I don't generally recommend going higher than 700 command. I think 700 is kind of the sweet spot. And once you have more than 700 command, you're kind of starting to hit some diminished returns. So 737, really, really good command. He's a beefy boy. And at Z10, um, I've got 3 skills maxed out and 3 points here, and he's still only level 46. So I'll be able to get another point in here um, pretty soon. Maybe even get a 5th point in there once I hit level 50. That's my Sauron. Let's look at Gandalf the White. A 4-piece divide and conquer set. So he is gaining more and more beefiness as the fight progresses. At 44 speed, his base speed is pretty good. Z8, 216 focus, so he's amplifying a White Council decently. I look at like 200 to kind of be the minimum for what you want focus wise on Gandalf the White. More obviously is better. It's going to make that White Council even stronger. But I think this is pretty sufficient. And he also does a decent amount of damage. Let's just check out. There's some more command here. You see he's got 457 command. So he's mitigating 31.4% of all damage at all times, which is solid. And the Guardians have 123 defense. So he's pretty beefy himself. He's difficult to bring down, especially with the White Council doing the White Council things. And he pumps out 40,000, did 40,000 damage here. Now to the damage dealing commanders, I'm going to start with Beorn, who is currently at R14, and he's got a maxed out Axe of Khazad-dûm and the Orb, Palantir of Orthunk. And then he's got the Harad Cask and the Berserker's Raiment. So his attack is real solid. He's got some speed. So 43 plus 5 is going to make his speed 48 once combat begins. That means he's going to be really, really difficult to inflict madness upon before he takes his turn. Um, He's faster than pretty much all Sarumans. He's going to be difficult to stun because he's faster than Gandalf the White. He's probably this Beorn is probably faster than the majority of other Beorns, which I believe he has a spell that inflicts madness. Yeah, 30% chance to inflict madness, and you got to be careful with him because once he hits level 4 and he takes his turn, then he becomes a bear and he becomes completely immune to stun and madness. Or at least um, I don't know if it's just him or if it's the entire formation, but in either event, this is extremely, extremely helpful for him. And so getting him to go earlier in the round, especially in round 4, triggers that bear a little quicker. So then you don't have to worry about him, nuking your own formation. So that's my Beorn. And then looking at Saruman, 268 focus and 26 speed. So he's not by many Saruman standards slow per se. We get the speed from the Obsidian Dagger and from the Cowl, and then focus from the Protection of Numenor and from the Smoking Pipe. And he does solid damage, as you can see from that report. We also invested some mithril into his relic, and at R11 he's still kind of a baby Saruman. I would love to get him to Zenith status at some point. I see folks with Zenith Saruman, and it makes me kind of drool a little bit. In terms of commander, the unit formation that I've chosen here, I really like this composition a lot, and it's a luxury to be able to run it. Quite honestly, having the resources to be able to make 4 distinct units at all given times, keeping them stocked so that I can keep this group fighting this way in battle is really helpful. So you've got the mountain trolls on Sauron; they're beefy. They've got the taunt. That's what you want on your tank unit. And then you've got a Guardians, which is kind of a cheaper but still very beefy unit on Gandalf the White, which we looked at him and he's beefy. And then on the damage dealers, we have Entlings on Saruman, so that makes him difficult to bring down. Entlings are a really good unit right now. They're a new unit, negative 10% physical damage received from being a large unit. And then also he has plus 10% defense here. And then somewhere, there we go. Poison damage and focus damage received negative 25%. Damage, burn damage received plus 50%. No one uses burn damage anymore in this game because it's been nerfed to high hell. Back in the day, this would have been catastrophic in 1.0 because everyone was running Witch King with alchemists, and these guys would have been torched with that. But in this new 2.0 game, the developers have gifted us with a lack of anyone really using bird damage because it's just not good anymore. So knowing that aces use a lot of Skullhelms, the Entlings are very helpful at mitigating both Saruman and Skullhelm's poison and focus damage, which is very helpful. And then for Beorn, since he's kind of the second DD in this unit, having the Eagles on here for that speed and the beefiness really, I think this is, in terms of troop composition, it's probably one of the strongest mixed troop compositions in the game. It's mixed. We've got 3 large units and a small unit in here. So you can see I had a very good result versus Strider here, and he's a very good player. So, maybe not necessarily one of Ace's best, but he's a longtime member and a very good player. So I wanted to show that. Let's look at my second. My second team got wrecked by Samwise the Brave here. My second team has Dane in it and Undying. I'll show my DDs first. You should know my Dane. Not much has changed here. He's got the Fortitude and he's got Might and for some commands there. Maxed out Relic. Love it. My Shadow is a baby Shadow at R10. He's up and coming. But same thing, fortitude, lots of unit defense to keep him up, and a good amount of damage. And he didn't do as much here as I would have loved to, but they survived. I mean, this is a great old meta formation. And by old meta, I mean Sauron, Dane, Gandalf the White, Beorn. This was the meta before 2.5 dropped last September, and it's still perfectly viable today, as you can see. Um, my Gandalf the Grey, good amount of command, decent amount of focus to amplify that White Council and some defense to keep him up. And then we've got Undying with tank gear, evasion, all evasion, baby. So that's what it's all about with this unit. And against some folks, I have decent results, but against another, an aces, a strong aces player like Samwise the Brave, against his main formation, this is the result that I would expect, which is I got crushed. Now here we had some really good results with my main army against two members of aces that I'm not as familiar with. So we've already reviewed my main formation. Let's check out Saggy Hammer. So this is an interesting build. I mean, Cowl of the Forest, I don't think is a great helmet for Sauron. The command is good, the initiative is good, but the unit defense is lacking. And you don't really want to run focus on Sauron. It doesn't scale too well with him. Um, I know there are people that I've had arguments about this with on other servers. Excuse me. No, I'm not going to mention any names. This is a solid plate here for him. It's kind of his. It's not S tier, but more A tier Durin's plate. He's getting 36 unit defense there, solid. And then the Miras Reigns, you get command, you get initiative, you get defense. So it's a nice kind of hybrid here. He's got speed, he's got some beefiness. So I like the Sauron quite a bit. Um, it's not. It's different from mine in that it's not as tanky, but it is faster. Let me just go back to my. He's got 39 speed. What do I got on mine? 33. So he's a faster Sauron. Now let's look at his Dane, and you can see he's going straight attack. I mean, 255 commander attack is significant. Our Z3 very strong, just lacking the command. So this is kind of the result that, excuse me, I would expect here, where I just kind of rip through him. 302 focus, god damn. 38 speed. Mm, he needs a little bit more speed, in my opinion. And then Beorn here. Again, there's no command. You want just a little bit of command and defense on your DDs in this day and age to help keep them up, because if they're alive, they can continue doing damage, and if they're dead, then they don't. And you can see by this fight, my Beorn just absolutely went ham and shredded them. So interesting fight there. And then Dragon Slayer came along. Let's check out this guy. Another guy that I'm not super familiar with. Maybe he's one of the guys that came over from Gaia. I don't know. Um, so he's 39 speed here, and he's running the full speed set. So he still kind of has that pre 2.5 Sauron mentality. When they took the madness effects and everything out of the pre battle stage, it really kind of killed speed on Sauron. You want some speed on Sauron, but I think that he has sacrificed too much tankiness for speed in this case, and his focus is way too high. So again, prioritizing focus and speed over troop defense is what got him killed here. He's not even using a tank unit, really, per se. Rams are not a bad unit per se, but not for who you want to be running on your tank. So he's got the Noldor sword, some command there. He's got 566 command. That's a solid amount of command. So he's mitigating 36% damage there, but he just doesn't have enough defense, I think, to make it hold. Initiative, command, that's solid. Defense, and see, I don't love the Elven Cloak on Sauron at all. For somebody like Gandalf the White or Gandalf the Grey, who's kind of your other support, or maybe even Saruman, it might be okay. But this guy is supposed to be your tank, and Elven Cloak is not a tanky item by any stretch of the imagination. Miros Reigns is solid, so no recommendations there. The other thing I would change is his skilling. You're gonna want Gorthar to have Keen Eye, so it goes through evasion instead of an extra 5 focus. So this Sauron is focused, and he got shredded. So, I mean, I had half my troops, and I just tore through him like a warm knife through butter here. So, a solid Gandalf the White. Here's where I would recommend putting a little bit uh, more speed so that he goes earlier in battle. So White Council goes off earlier. So that 292 White Council, that's a strong White Council. It only helps you if you cast it before the enemy goes. And with my Beorn at this speed, I go before his Gandalf the White every round. So the Dane looking solid, good attack. He's got some troop defense here. I think a command helmet would be better than this, but this works for sure. And a might stat instead of perseverance or divide and conquer probably would be good as well. Man, that's a really low number for Dane to be getting in a battle that looks like this. So I just really tore through him. And then Beorn's the last one. Good amount of attack. Attack could be higher, but you can see the reason why Beorn got as much damage as he did is because he survived long enough to do damage. And he did that because he had this command helmet with all this defense. And then, like, this guy is set up. The only thing that he could use a little bit better that would be better, I think, would be an Axe of Khazad Dûn here to improve his attack a little bit more. But the initiative is good. He's fast. That 48 base initiative without any speed set bonus. So these are this obviously made me very happy to see. Um, but definitely just from what I'm seeing here from those reports, some areas of opportunity. This is a great report from my B team. Let's check out KS Pool Day Jeff Zilla. Excuse me. Let's check out his Skull Helm, 67 speed. That is hella fast. I mean, this is a good Skull Helm. Maybe not lonely Skullhelm level, but I mean, this is a very, very good Skullhelm. And this just begs one to ask the question, and I'm not asking this in a rhetorical fashion. I'm not trying to make any inferences, but I'm asking you legitimately, anyone watching this video, do you think Skullhelm is a good commander? 115,000 damage here is solid. He outdamaged Dane. Here's the Dane, and it's a solid Dane. I mean, maxed out. This guy is maxed out everything, and looks like he's got his relic upgraded. It's refined 4 times. Gandalf the White, 41 speed, plus another 5 from this, so he's really running at 46. Good amount of focus, so that White Council is going off earlier in battle, and it is potent. And then the full tank Sauron. This is how you want to run Sauron. And he's got speed on here too, so he's going at 38 instead of 33. It's good. I'm very pleased with this result for my guys because it's my B team going against an A team, and so not getting completely hammered like I showed you in that Same Wise the Brave report is good. Anytime I'm getting 3,000 or more merit from my B team fighting an A team is a good day for me. Unlike this report where, well, this one's not bad. This one I got my ass handed to me, but I wasn't full. So you can see I did pretty good here. My Dane did some work. The evasion kept my troops alive. Some White Council here. And this is an interesting, I assume this is his main formation, but I don't understand really what he's doing here by putting eagles on Sauron. Again, he's focusing on focus, it seems, more than troop defense. So maybe he's just not a whale and he's doing the best he can with what he has. So I'm not going to criticize him per se, but Gandalf the White is not really a tank unit, especially when you're not wearing any gear with unit defense other than this 15 from Cowl of the Forest. You get 18 from Noldor Sword as well. So 473 command, it's okay, but for a tank, you really are looking for like 5 to 700 for a tank. But if this is a work in progress unit, then it's a good work in progress. Interesting to see a Legolas. I have to look at a Legolas. 200 attack. This is looking pretty nice. He's just not beefy. He's too much attack, I think. 49 speed is pretty quick. He does have thick armor for an extra 10, so it's an interesting one. It's very interesting. I like seeing different commanders, so it's nice to see a Legolas in there. Let's keep going. Let's look at a couple more here. Yeah, so this is a pretty evenish fight considering I had these two previous fights. This was probably a fight where I hit the good old defend button. He started at 69.18. I started at 65.94, and I gave him a little bit of a whooping there. There's quite a level disparity between his 42s and my 46s and a 45, so he's got the right unit on Sauron. He's got the right gear on Sauron. Except again, I'm not in love with Dawn. It's not S tier tank equipment, but I don't even know if it's necessarily A tier. It's got command and it's got some unit defense, but otherwise, I mean, B tier, I would say. This is A tier. This is S tier, and this is A or S tier. Silver Harbor Rivendell is a better pure tank unit, but the Mir S Reigns is nice for you get unit defense, you get commander initiative, and you get command. Let's check out a Saruman. It's coming along okay. Looking good. Good amount of focus at 222. He got some unit defense from the Cask of Submerged Isle. A little bit on the slow side at only 19, so some opportunity there. Solid Dane for R13. He's got the base stats where he wants. A command helmet would be a little bit better, and then getting a matching set bonus there would be nice to have. And then Gandalf the White. He's got a 2-piece evasion. So baby whale, I would say Turin bar. Or baby whale versus a kraken. I'm a kraken, I guess, now. I talk to people and they tell me this anyway, so I'll take their word for it. Here's another example of my B team versus a main, and I got massacred. But like I said before, I got more than 3,000 merit here, so I'm all right with that. And I was all right with this, even though he wasn't full. I mean, this is looking like a main unit. Yeah, he is not. Poor guy. He is not a whale. Well, he is rocking some 1.0 gear at the focus protection. Maybe it's a second account. I'm pretty sure that guy's from Gaia. All the duck guys are Gaia guys. And here's one last one: main versus main. Again, running the old pre 2.5 meta comp with Sauron's Gandalf the White, Beorn, and Dane. Let's check out his gear. Pure tank, love it. 176 defense. It's coming along. Could use a different helmet there, but this will suffice. He gets the command, 600 command. So this is a solid tanking Sauron, especially for R8. When I see an R8, he's like a baby Sauron. He's coming up, doesn't even have the relic yet because he's not high enough yet to get there. So um, solid formation. 292 focus, 34 speed. So need a little bit of speed here on your Gandalf the White so that he can go sooner in battle, and that White Council can be um, used a little bit better. Z11, whew, nice. Z3 Beorn, I'm jealous of that. I love the gigantic breastplate, massive breastplate on him because it gives him attack and defense. If you're not going to be running like kind of the S tier gear, this is a good alternative in my opinion. But since he's not running, like you can see from mine. Oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong guy. I clicked on the wrong guy again. Oh, that's right. I don't have Dane in here. I'm sorry. My Dane, I run the Orcish Great Helmet because it gives him the command and the attack and the unit defense. And I think that is the way to go on any damage dealing commander like Beorn or Dane. And you can supplement it with this as well. So you're also getting, more commander attack and unit defense. So it's kind of like a hybrid build. Solid Dane though, 266. It's just flat out balls to the wall attack, and you can see he did 131,000 damage here. So very good, very cool, good stuff. So that's kind of the state of things. Let me just kind of zoom up and around here so you can kind of get an idea what's going on here. This is still on Deepers. Now we're over on SAV side. Come up to SAV and you look around and it's basically pretty much all us at this point. Yeah, there's the crossing. Now we're approaching the keep. Just a massive amount. And they're kind of pecking away using some flyers and stuff, but we have pretty firm control, I would say, of the area. Still some fighting and stuff going on over here, but steadily we have been making our way and pushing through. And the ultimate goal, obviously, would be to, at some point, maybe make a run at this pass. Both the passes, really, and just completely seal SAV off. But there is still good fighting you can see happening here. They've got a nice group that doesn't quit. Melky being one of them. Hoopla, Dreadchain, Mock, Gooch. So they still have some guys that are putting up a heck of a fight. Any Mr. Obrak, Bohica. Bohica is one of their good players. And now, finally, one last look at the map. One last look at the pin. There it is. So I thank you for taking the time to watch me go on and on. I appreciate you very much. If you have any feedback or comments or corrections to my stupidity, please leave them in the comment section below. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll be back on Friday to do a 3-week update. Thank you all so much again for watching my video. I hope everyone has a good week and stays well, and we'll talk soon. Turgon the Wise signing off. Cheers.